Welcome to chemistry episode number 1, the structure of an atom. So atoms are made up of three things: protons, neutrons, and electrons. So the protons have a positive charge, the neutrons have a neutral charge, and the electrons have a negative charge. Now, the protons and neutrons, they make up this thing called the nucleus in the center, and the electrons orbit the nucleus. And you can see protons are represented by the plus sign, neutrons are represented with no sign, and electrons are represented with a negative sign. Yeah, the electrons orbit the nucleus made up of the protons and neutrons, and they orbit the nucleus in these orbits, like the planets orbit the sun, like Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. Yeah, the electrons orbit the nucleus in these orbits. And yeah, there can be more than one electron in an orbit. As you can see, what I've drawn here is a neutral atom of helium. So helium has two protons, which means if it was neutral, it'd have to have two electrons, because two positive charges, two negative charges, they cancel each other out. So this is a neutral atom of helium. So there is more than one orbital, and in chemistry we just call them shells, right? But a neutral atom of helium, like I just said, it has two electrons, right? The first shell only fits two electrons. So the neutral atom of helium would have to gain an electron to get three electrons that can fill in the second shell, because electrons fill in the shells of an atom from inward to outward, right? So it starts with the first shell, and then it fills in the second shell, third shell, so on, right? Inward, outward. And we'll talk more about that in chemistry episode number 2, electrons. But I think that'll be it for today. Chemistry episode number 1, the structure of an atom. The key takeaways are protons that are positive, neutrons are neutral, and they make up the nucleus that the electrons orbit the negative electrons in these things called shells, right? And I'll see you next time in chemistry episode number 2, electrons.